Ladies and gentlemen, please bring your attention to the center of the ring for a spectacle that promises to be as historic as the name suggests. In the red corner, the underdog, Blue Note 75th Anniversary. And in the blue corner, the favorite, weighing it at 180 grams, the Jazz Maestro, the harmonious hitman, the Sultan of Swing, introducing the undefeated, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, TubeBuddy. Prepare for a clash that transcends eras, where the decrepit Dynamo takes on the Melody Mauler for the heavyweight championship title of the world. Let's get ready to grumble.
Just go back.
Let's get ready to grumble. That's what folks are going to do if the 75th anniversary actually ends up winning this bout. Is it even possible? Is this a mismatch? Is this lightweight versus heavyweight? I mean, how can we even pit these two together without expecting Tone Poet to stomp 75th anniversary? Well, we have no choice but to pit these two against each other. This titanic album, Lee Morgan't Cornbread, 75th anniversary versus the Tone Poet. I know what you're thinking. I don't care. This is the UK edition, which I did a video on at least 6 months ago, claiming that this is a very nice sounding album. I know the US pressings suck. I have a US pressing of a 75th anniversary sitting right over there collecting dust, which I'm probably just gonna break on camera at some point. But this and Juju by Wayne Shorter, I've actually reviewed 75th anniversary UK pressings. Nobody wants to believe it. They actually sound really, really good. But can they compete against this Tone Poet edition, which incidentally is back in print? I got this on Amazon for like 35 bucks. But before you snag one, you have to watch these two duke it out. Let's get to the bottom of this once and for all. All right, we are back. Lee Morgan't Cornbread. This is a phenomenal album. I love this album. Probably my favorite Lee Morgan album. I'm not alone in saying that, I'm sure. I also love Candy. I love the Tone Poet product. I always hype it up. I did a preview of the upcoming 2024 releases. I've done shootouts before. I've shown off my 10 favorite Tone Poets. And I just think it's a really, really great product for the money. I mean, this was 35 bucks on Amazon. So how can you beat that with this great presentation? Really nice gatefold album here with great session photos and the whole 9 yards, right? You do not get that on the 75th anniversary edition. I'm going to show you a couple of pictures here of what I found though when I unsleeved the vinyl from this jacket. And as you can see, it looks like crap. We got fingerprints, we got smudges, we got all kinds of stuff going on here. And both sides have the same problem. I've never seen that from Tone Poet. I was very surprised to see that and actually very disappointed to see that. I mean, where's the quality control on that? Now look, does it happen? Yes. I'm not gonna sit here and whine and say like, oh, you know, all my albums have to be perfect, or that I never get an album that has smudges on it or whatever. It happens. You have to expect it with this kind of a media. But it's still surprising, you know, coming from Tone Poet. This is supposed to be a superior product, basically Blue Note's flagship product, and so to have those kinds of marks was a little surprising. As far as I could tell, listening to it, it did not affect play. I did attempt to clean them up. I always clean up my records before I play them, even a new album, but they were not removable. So these prints, I don't know how you missed that, but you know what? Whatever. If I wanted to, I guess I could return it, get another one. I don't know if it's worth it for me. It probably is going to affect the resale value if I ever decide to do that. I am always most concerned with the sound, and the sound was fine. All right, so I listened to the 75th anniversary. I listened to the Tone Poet. I listened to them back and over again. I mean, I probably listened to similar sections of each song where there was a lot going on 5 or 6 times, really trying to get into every nuance and be critical and be analytical about any potential variation in the mastering so that I could report back and tell you that the Tone Poet is 10 times better. I cannot tell you that. I cannot sit here and say with a straight face that the Tone Poet is way better. It's just not. The 75th anniversary, Blue Note 75th anniversary, has a terrible reputation in the vinyl community. People hate these things. And I probably got more dislikes on my video where I did a review of this album and Wayne Shorter's Juju, as I said earlier. Both 75th anniversaries, both UK pressings. The thing is, there is a difference. Supposedly they were, I don't believe the US pressings, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the US pressings are 180 gram. I might be wrong on that. But there's definitely something different going on, and whether it's the quality of vinyl that was used in the UK versus the US, and I think that's probably the biggest thing because I have one US 75th anniversary of Bobby Hutcherson's Happenings that is garbage, complete garbage. I just got it. It was sealed, unfortunately, and so I opened it up, and so much surface noise all over both sides of that album. It is unlistenable. It's just a complete waste of money. Which I bought on Discogs, so I have really no hope of returning it. I don't expect the seller to take it back. You know, it was sealed, but I wish Blue Note would take it back because it's crap. However, Juju and Cornbread 75th anniversary are both very, very good. I still stand by that. They are quiet. They are sonically very good. They have a nice sound stage. The dynamics are nice. You get all the top end, all the bottom end. It's mastered very, very well. It's reproduced very, very well. People said, well, it comes from a digital source. So all 75th anniversaries come from a digital source. And I know most of them do. And I've read all the articles I can find. And I know that the US pressings for sure are using a digital source. I don't know that the UK pressing does. And after hearing the Tone Poet, I'm even more convinced that it doesn't, because these two pressings are way too close together in quality. I know it's going to be hard for some people to take, but I'm just telling you what I hear. If anything, if this Tone Poet release is better than the 75th anniversary at all, it's going to be that it's a tiny bit louder, a little more amplitude, maybe each of the instruments comes through the mix a little more, and I mean a little more. It might be the tiniest bit punchier. But I mean, other than that, these are the same mix. They're the same master. They have to be. They're just way too close. And as I said, maybe the Tone Poet is a little louder, maybe it's a little bit punchier, but I mean, it is a very small margin. I was not expecting to say that today. I was expecting to sit here and tell you that this blows the 75th anniversary edition away. It doesn't. So, I mean, what else do you get for your money? You get a nice, glossy gatefold. Again, you get the session photos. You get a nice inner sleeve, the standard kind of thick Tone Poet issued inner sleeves here. But I mean, other than that, there's not a lot to report in terms of the variation in these two pressings. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you to go out and buy the 75th anniversary because, you know, these are back in print. The Tone Poet edition is in print. It's $35. Go snag one. Hopefully you won't get one that's got someone's fingerprints all over it like I did, but it doesn't sound any worse than the 75th edition. Let's put it that way. It doesn't sound any worse, and maybe a little bit better. I don't know if you can pick this up. Let me take this out. I mean, there are tiny things cosmetically, but I mean, here are the two. This is the Tone Poet. This is the 75th. You can see there's a much different, the gloss is way higher on the Tone Poet. Here's the backs. You can see that, probably see that it's much wider than the 75th anniversary. And again, glossier. This is not a gatefold, but I mean, so what? I mean, that's the jacket. For me, it's going to come down to sonics. It's going to come down to the mastering, how good it's going to sound on my system. And yeah, the Tone Poet sounds really good. It is a very good pressing of this album. I've never heard an original, but I have tons of jazz records. I know what a good one is supposed to sound like. It is a nice sounding jazz album, but so is the 75th anniversary UK pressing. So it kind of took all the fun out of the whole boxing analogy because the Tone Poet did not go Mike Tyson on the 75th anniversary. The 75th anniversary went the distance with this Tone Poet. The Tone Poet probably beats out 75th anniversary by decision, but that's about it. So if you just want to know about the Tone Poet Cornbread release, which is back in print, that's fantastic. $35 on Amazon. It sounds great. I mean, very nice articulate top end, very nice bottom end with well-rounded bass and punchy. Lee Morgan, you know, the most important thing you want, you know, you want to hear Lee Morgan's trumpet sounding good, and it sounds fantastic on here. No distortion or anything like that. The mastering's very balanced. The sound stage is very good. By the way, these are both stereo pressings. The sound stage is very good. The dynamics are nice. The frequency response is very nice. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you. It's a very nice sounding album. What else can I tell you? I'm sitting here in a little bit of shock because, you know, I can't believe that these two records are that close. People, again, are going to hate this, that I'm saying the 75th anniversary actually stands up to the Tone Poet reissue, but it does. All right, well, thank you so much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Also, leave me a comment. Tell me I'm crazy that the 75th anniversary actually holds up against the Tone Poet pressing. I mean, it was a close fight the whole way. I mean, basically a split decision at the end. We had to leave it up to the judges after 18 rounds, and I mean, the Tone Poet barely pulls it out. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.